Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to tell you about basic programs of Java. So, first we'll check out questions. For this, I am using Online GDB as my compiler. You can use many compilers like Eclipse and many other. So, I'm using Online GDB as my compiler. So we'll go with our questions. First question is, write a Java program to calculate the average value of an array elements. So when an elements are given in an array, we have to find the average value of the elements what is given. So what is the formula for average value? Sum of n numbers by number of elements. So we'll go into the program directly. So I'll tell you small basics about Java programming. So as we use printf in C programming and C in and C out in C++ programming, here we use system.out.println for printing the statements in Java programming. So in Java programming, declaring a class is an important thing. So without declaring or initializing a class, we cannot do any program. So class is the compulsory and the mandatory in Java programming. So we'll go into program. In the first line, it is import java.util because we need to import all the things from java.util. So basically in C++ and C programming languages, we need not to import for any small programs for like small codes adding two numbers or finding average. We need not to import anything, but we need to import java.util in Java programming. So as I said, class is a mandatory one. Public class, as I am using Online GDB, I have to use compulsory main as my class name. So if you use a compiler like Eclipse, you can use anything as your class name. So public class main, public static void main string args. So here the code starts from main, our code starts, and from here this is the printing statement for the user. The user can see this statement so that he can know that he need to enter the value. So what is in the print statement? Enter the number of elements you want. So then he will come to know how many numbers he need to enter into an array. So scanner s is equals to new scanner system.in. So this is a scanning statement. So here the values entered by the user will be stored here. So when the user enters the value, this acts as an scanf statement in C programming. Here in Java programming, scanner is equal to new scanner system.in. So int n is equal to s dot next integer because he need to enter an integer value. So int a, this is a list. We are giving it as free list, open list. So we are not declaring any value here, is equals to new integer, and here int sum is equals to 0. We can do in this way, or you can follow another way. You can declare all the things in the only one line. So I'm explaining little briefly, so I'm using 2-3 lines to explain. So int sum is equals to 0. We are initializing, we are declaring some value as 0 itself. And int size, this is a variable, this is an anything, we can keep it as a, b, c, whatever we want. This is not in a keyword or anything, this is an optional one. We can keep it as anything. Float value, because the average value may be in the float, so we cannot keep it as an integer. So we need to keep average value as a floating point. So system.out println, enter the elements you want to enter. So here he will enter the elements you want to enter. Here he will enter the numbers, and the next time when this print statement execute, so again he will come to know, again he need to enter element. So here we are using for loop because we know the value of n, because how many how many times we need to execute the for loop we know, that's why we are using for loop. So for int I is equals to 0, we are initializing I is equals to 0, I should be less than n, and I is getting incremented here itself I plus plus. So a of I, so the value of a, as I said, this is an empty set. The value of I will be taken here. I mean, the address of I will be taken. A of I is equals to s dot next in. So these values will be stored here. So size equals to a dot length. So here the size of an array will come here. So because through the size only we can calculate the average value. So system dot out println the size of an array is. So we need to enter the size, and the value of size will be added here. And one more thing, important thing. So when we use in C programming language, if we want to print the result, we use printf is equals to percentage d to print a value. So here we need to do plus size. If we want to display the size value, we need to insert plus size. In the same way, for int I is equals to 0, I is less than size, I plus plus I is incremented here. Sum is equals to sum plus a of I. We have declared sum is equals to 0 in the initially. So again, the value of a of I plus sum will be replaced in the value of sum. So system dot out dot println the value, the sum of number is plus sum. So here we are printing the value of sum. The same way, average value is equals to float of sum, because the average value will be in the float value, sum by size. So as I said, sum of the elements by number of elements is the formula for finding average. So here is the formula. So system dot out dot println the average of the elements in an array is equals to plus average. We are displaying the value of average. So we'll check the code whether it is running or not. Okay, yeah, we are running the code. Yeah, enter the number of elements you want to enter. So I want to enter around 5 elements in my array. So I will enter 5. Enter the elements you want to enter. So what all the elements I want to enter? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So then the size of the array is 5. As I said, the size of the array is 5, and the sum of numbers is. So as I said here, this statement is printing the sum value. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, the sum is 15, and the average is 15 by 5, that is nothing but 3. So we can go with any random numbers or natural numbers, whatever we want. So I want to enter 5 element. In that I want to enter 12 comma space comma 5 7 9. Okay, we'll check it out with 1. Yeah, the size of an array is 5. The sum of all these numbers is 34, and the average is 6.8. This is a first code in Java. So we'll go to our second question. Yeah, write a Java program to find the maximum and minimum value of an array. So this will print the maximum value and minimum value. If a user enters from 1 to 9, the minimum value is 1, right? So the maximum value is 9. So it should print in this way. So we'll check the code. Yeah, this is our code to check the maximum and minimum values. As I said, all this information in the first experiment of our Java. Import java.util, and this class is compulsory, and public static void, this is a compulsory, and here we are taking a number. So this is the value entered by the user will be stored in scanner s is equals to new scanner system.in. So this is the printing statement for the user, number of elements you want to enter. So he will come to know that how many numbers he need to enter. So int n is equals to s dot next int. So it is an integer, it is stored in n, and integer max, integer minimum, integer it is an empty set is equals to new integer. So we are leaving this set as empty set. So system.out.println enter the elements. So after coming this statement, he will enter how many elements he need to enter. So then he will enter all the elements what he need to enter. So we are using for loop because we know the value of n. So how many numbers he will enter here, that will be stored here. So we need to check the condition in that way. Int I is equals to 0, I is less than or less than n. It is not equal to, it is I is less than n, and I is incremented I plus plus. A of I is equals to s dot next int. So the value of I is equals to 0, right? So the address of I, the value of I which comes into A of I, that is an, it will come into a set. Then the value of what the user entered will be stored here. So this will, if this condition pass, this will be incremented again. So max is equals to a of 0, minimum is equals to a of 0, and for I integer I is equals to 0, I less than or equal, I less than n, and I plus plus, it is incremented. Now we are checking the condition because all the numbers will be coming here. So we need to check the condition if the first number is greater than the second number, if the second number is greater than the third number. So we need to keep on checking. So we are using for loop here. If maximum, max is less than a of I. So what is max here? A of 0. So a of I, if it is greater than max nothing but a of 0, then this will come into max and it will print as it is the maximum value. So next, if we come into the second case, if minimum is greater than a of I. So minimum, what is minimum? A of 0. So a of 0 is greater than a of I. So then it will, the value of a of I will come into minimum. So here these values will be stored, and system.out.print the maximum elements of an array is plus max. So the value of max will be printed here because we are using plus max. So in the same way, the minimum of elements in array will be printed here. So we'll check the program by running it. Connecting to the server. Let's wait for it. Yeah. Okay. Just a second. I'll be back. Yeah. It was connecting to the server. So we'll check the code. The same code. Enter. Yeah. As I said, here it should be main. As I'm using online GDB, it should be main. It is default in online GDB. You can use any class name in Eclipse. So number of elements you want to enter. So I want to enter 5 elements. Okay. Enter the elements. What are the elements I want to enter? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And next, yeah, here it directly declares the maximum element, the maximum is 5 and the minimum is 1. So we can see manually by our mathematical brain calculations, the minimum value is 1 and maximum value is 5. So we'll go with some other big numbers like 99. Okay, we'll go with 99 first, and then 65 next, and then we'll go with 32. I'm sorry, actually I need to enter how many elements I want to enter in the first. So first I will enter as 5, then I need to enter my elements 99, it's 85, and 62, sorry 63, 1, and 5. So we'll see. Yeah, the maximum of element of all these element is 99 and the minimum is 1. So by this we can say the maximum and minimum will be printed through this. So we'll go for third question. Third question is nothing but write a Java program to find the common elements between two arrays. So when we enter two arrays, like if I enter two arrays like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the second array I will enter 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the common element is 5. So that it need to be printed. So we'll go to our code. I have typed the code in the beginning and kept. So yeah. So first line import java.util. Second line public class main public static void and scanner s equal to new scanner system.in. So the value entered by the user will be stored here, and next int is equals to m is equals to int m is equals to s dot next int. So the second value what he is going to be entered, it should be an integer, so this value will be stored there. So next system.out.println, this is the second number of elements you want to enter in the second array. So here number of elements you want to enter in the first array. The number, how many numbers we want to enter, that we have to enter here, not the elements. How many elements you want to enter, we have to enter here. So int is equals to n is equals to s dot next integer. So the values will be stored here as an integer. So we cannot give I want a 5.6 elements I'm going to enter. We need to enter 5 elements or 6 elements. We cannot give as 5.6. That's why it is an integer value here. So int we are leaving it as an empty sets here, int a and int b, and the system dot out println the entered the elements of a first array. So here the number of the elements need to be entered. What are the elements you want to enter? So we are using for loop here. For int I is equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, I is incremented here. So a of I is equal to s of next. We are checking the condition. So all the elements need to be passed here to check the condition. So system dot out println here it should be 2, not 1. Yeah. To enter the elements for second array. So for I in j is equals to 0, j is less than m, j plus plus. So the value of b of j is equals to the values, all the values will be stored here. So we can check the condition. So we are using for loop here, two for loops, because we need to check for first array and the second array. So for int I is equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. So the first element will be passed here. If the condition is true, then it will come inside the second for loop. Then the condition of j will be true. Then it will come into the if statement. So when these two conditions are passed, where int I is equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, int j is equals to 0, j is less than m, j plus plus. So we need to check the condition if a of I is double equal to b of j. So the addresses, the elements of so I'll tell you. So I'll take a notepad. So the first element have 1 2 3 4 5, and the second array has 1 5 6 7 8 9. So here n a of I is equals to 1 here, then b of j is equals to 5. It will check the condition, it becomes failed, so it will go to the second case, it will check the condition, it is failed, it will come to the third condition, it will check in this way, 3 and 5, 4 and 5, 5 and 5. So this matches, this will store the value. Next it will check the condition, 2 and 5, 2 and 6, 2 and 7. So all this condition will be checked in the for loop, and finally when a of I double is equals to a of j, this will print the value which is common of them. So we'll run the code. We'll check number of elements you want to enter in the first array. 5 elements I want to enter, and the second array you also I want to enter 5 elements. So I enter the elements of first array. So I will enter as I gave example 1 2 3 4 and 5. These are the elements in first array. Second array 5 6 7 8 and 9. So here the common element is 5. As I said, the common element is 5. We'll check with 2 elements are equal. What is going to be the output? 5 5 1 2 3 4 and 5. I'll start with 4 5 6 7 and 8. Yeah, the common elements is 4 and 5. So how many common elements are there? It will print all those elements. So these are the basic programs of Java. These are the three good examples in Java programming. That's all in this video. Thank you.